So here's how it all started. I was sitting in my home office trying to get through the last few emails of the day when I overheard my wife, Emily, on the phone. Her voice carried through the thin walls, and I couldn't help but eavesdrop. What I heard made my blood run cold. He knows. John heard me say that you will cover for me, and while our husbands are busy, I can have some fun. I froze, my fingers hovering over the keyboard, heart pounding in my chest. Emily was planning something behind my back, something involving fun while I was busy. My mind raced, trying to process what this meant. Was she cheating on me? I decided right then that I needed to find out more before jumping to conclusions. I quietly got up and moved closer to the door to hear better, hoping she wouldn't hear me. Yes, everything is set for Saturday night. You'll make sure he's distracted, right? Good. I can wait. It's been so long since we had a night just for us. There it was. Confirmation that Emily was planning to spend time with someone else while pretending to be with her friend. The anger bubbled up inside me, but I forced myself to stay calm. I needed a plan. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Emily acted completely normal, kissing me goodnight and snuggling up to me in bed as if nothing was wrong. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with thoughts of what she might be up to. Saturday rolled around and I decided to follow her. I made an excuse about having to work late, ensuring she wouldn't suspect anything. As she left the house all dressed up, I waited a few minutes before grabbing my keys and heading out. I tailed her car at a safe distance, heart pounding with anticipation. She drove to a fancy restaurant downtown, one we used to go to for special occasions. My heart sank as I saw her get out of the car and walk towards the entrance, looking radiant and happy. I parked my car and waited, watching as she met a man at the door. They embraced, and I felt a stab of betrayal. I snapped a few photos with my phone for evidence, my hands shaking with anger and sadness. They went inside, and I knew I couldn't follow them without being seen. So I waited in the car, mind racing with what I'd just witnessed. After what felt like an eternity, they emerged, laughing and holding hands. They got into his car and drove off. I followed them to a small upscale hotel not far from the restaurant. My stomach churned as I watched them go inside together. It was clear what was happening, and I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. I needed to confront her, but not here. Not now. I drove home, my mind made up. I would gather more evidence and confront her when I had everything I needed. But one thing was certain: this wasn't going to end well for Emily. She thought she could play me, but she had no idea what was coming. The days following my discovery were torturous. I pretended everything was normal, while my mind was in turmoil. Emily went about her routine, blissfully unaware that I knew her secret. Each time she smiled at me, kissed me, or said she loved me, I felt a sharp pang of betrayal. Saturday night came again, and Emily had another girl-less night out planned. This time, I was ready. I had installed a GPS tracker on her car and a voice-activated recorder in her purse. I was determined to gather as much evidence as possible before confronting her. As she left, I waited a few minutes before checking the GPS tracker. Sure enough, she was headed to the same hotel. I sat on the couch, staring at the blinking dot on the screen, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. I decided to take it a step further. I called John, my best friend, who also happened to be married to Emily's friend. I had a hunch he was the one covering for Emily. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey, John, got a minute?" "Sure. What's up?" "Listen, I need to talk to you about something important. Can we meet up?" Yeah. How about we grab a drink at Barney S? Perfect. See you in 30. I arrived at Barney S before John and ordered a beer, trying to steady my nerves. When John walked in, I waved him over. He looked concerned, probably sensing something was off. "Hey, man, what is going on?" he asked, sitting down. I took a deep breath. "John, I need you to be honest with me. Is there something going on between Emily and someone else?" His eyes widened in shock. "What? No, why would you think that?" "Don't lie to me, John. I heard her talking on the phone about you covering for her. I followed her last Saturday and saw her with another man." He paled, his facade crumbling. "Look, I didn't know how to tell you. I found out a few weeks ago. She's been meeting this guy, Greg, for a couple of months now." "Greg?" The name sent a jolt through me. Who the hell is Greg? He's someone she met at work. They started out as friends, but it escalated. I clenched my fists, trying to control my rage. And you didn't think to tell me? I didn't know how. Emily begged me to keep it quiet. She said she was going to end it. Well, she hasn't. And now I need your help. John looked conflicted, but eventually nodded. What do you need me to do? I need you to get me more information. Find out everything you can about Greg. And if you can, get some proof. Over the next few days, John dug into Greg's background. He found out that Greg was single, had a bit of a shady past, and was known for getting involved with married women. Perfect. Just the kind of guy I needed to take down. John managed to get some photos of Emily and Greg together, enough to prove the affair beyond a doubt. With the evidence in hand, I was ready for the confrontation. I chose a quiet Sunday morning when Emily was still in bed. I placed the photos and a copy of the recordings on the kitchen table and waited. When she finally came downstairs, she looked surprised to see me sitting there, staring at her. "Good morning," she said cheerfully. "Sit down, Emily. We need to talk." She frowned, sensing the gravity in my voice. "What's going on?" I slid the photos across the table. "Care to explain these?" Her face went white as she looked at the pictures. I can explain, can you? Because it looks pretty clear to me. You've been cheating on me with this Greg guy." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I am sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. Didn't mean for it to happen. You planned it, Emily. You lied to me and you had John lie to me. Do you know how humiliating this is?" She broke down, sobbing. "I didn't want to hurt you. It just happened. Well, it's done more than just hurt me. It's destroyed our marriage. I'll end it. I'll never see him again. Please, give me another chance." I shook my head, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "I can't trust you anymore, Emily. This isn't something we can just fix. I am filing for divorce." She collapsed in a heap on the floor, crying uncontrollably. I walked away, feeling a strange sense of relief. It was over. The betrayal, the lies, all of it. I could finally move on. The days following our confrontation were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. Emily moved out to stay with her friend, and I was left alone in our house, grappling with the reality of our shattered marriage. The silence was deafening, a constant reminder of the life we had built together and how quickly it had all crumbled. John kept in touch, providing support and updates on Emily's whereabouts. He was guilt-ridden for keeping her secret, but did everything he could to help me through the ordeal. His wife, Sarah, was just as devastated, feeling betrayed by her friend S' actions. We bonded over our shared pain, finding some solace in each other's company. One evening, as I sat in the living room nursing a whiskey, my phone buzzed with a text from John. "John, we need to talk. I found something you might want to see." I replied immediately, curiosity piqued. "Me, come over." Half an hour later, John arrived, a somber expression on his face. He handed me a folder, which I opened with trepidation. Inside were more photos, this time of Emily and Greg at various locations around town, including some intimate moments that left no doubt about the nature of their relationship. But that wasn't all. John had done some digging into Greg's background and found out he had a history of getting involved with married women and then blackmailing them. My heart raced as I realized the full extent of the situation. "Greg's a predator," John said, his voice filled with anger. "He targets women like Emily, gets them involved, and then extorts them for money or other favors. He has done it before, and he's doing it again." I felt a surge of protective anger. Emily had made terrible choices, but she didn't deserve to be preyed upon. We need to do something, but what? John nodded. "I've already spoken to a private investigator. He agreed to help us gather more evidence. We need to catch Greg in the act, get solid proof of his blackmail scheme." We spent the next few days coordinating with the private investigator, setting up surveillance and tracking Greg's movements. It was a tense time, but I felt a renewed sense of purpose. I couldn't save my marriage, but I could stop this predator. One night the investigator called. "We've got him. Greg's meeting another woman tonight, and we've got everything set up." John and I met the investigator at a small cafe downtown, where we watched the live feed from the surveillance cameras. Greg arrived, charming and confident, meeting a nervous-looking woman who matched the profile of his previous victims. As the night progressed, we watched as Greg worked his charm, getting closer to the woman. At the crucial moment, the investigator moved in, confronting Greg and the woman while recording everything. Greg's mask of charm slipped, revealing a vicious, angry man who tried to deny everything. The investigator handed the evidence over to the police, and within days, Greg was arrested. The news spread quickly, and Emily was devastated when she found out. She called me, begging for forgiveness, sobbing about how she had been manipulated. "I'm sorry, Emily," I said, feeling a mix of sadness and resolve. "I can't change what happened, and I can't trust you anymore. But I'm glad we stopped Greg. No one else should go through what you did." Emily moved away, trying to rebuild her life. I focused on moving forward, slowly healing from the betrayal. John and I became closer friends, supporting each other through the tough times. One day, while we were having a drink at Barney S., he looked at me thoughtfully. "You know, there's a silver lining to all this." "Oh yeah? What is that?" I asked, curious. "We've learned who our real friends are, and we've come out stronger. And who knows, maybe there is someone out there who's a better fit for you." I laughed, shaking my head. "Maybe. But for now, I'm just taking it one day at a time." Months passed, and I slowly began to rebuild my life. The divorce was finalized, and I settled into a new routine. My friendship with John deepened, and I leaned on him for support. He and Sarah were a constant presence, helping me find a sense of normalcy. One evening, Sarah suggested a dinner party at their place. "It's time you got out and socialized a bit more," she said with a warm smile. "We're inviting a few friends over, and it'll be good for you." Reluctantly, I agreed. It had been a while since I'd been in a social setting, and I knew it was time to take that step. The night of the dinner party, I dressed casually but neatly, feeling a mix of nervousness and anticipation. When I arrived at John and Sarah S. house, the atmosphere was lively. Laughter and chatter filled the air, and I felt a sense of warmth. Sarah greeted me with a hug, and John handed me a beer. "Glad you made it," he said, clinking his bottle against mine. As the evening progressed, I mingled with the guests, enjoying the conversation and the food. I found myself relaxing, even laughing at some of the jokes being shared. It was then that I noticed a woman standing alone near the bookshelf, looking slightly out of place. She was strikingly beautiful, with dark hair cascading over her shoulders and a shy smile playing on her lips. Sarah noticed my gaze and nudged me gently. "That SS Lisa," she whispered. "She is a friend from work. Go talk to her." With a deep breath, I made my way over to Lisa. "Hi, I am Matt," I said, extending my hand. "Hi, Matt, I am Lisa," she replied, her smile widening as she shook my hand. We struck up a conversation, and I quickly discovered we had a lot in common. She was kind, intelligent, and had a great sense of humor. We talked about everything from work to hobbies, and I found myself genuinely enjoying her company. As the night drew to a close, I felt a sense of regret that it had to end. "It was really nice talking to you, Lisa," I said, hoping she felt the same. "Same here, Matt. We should do this again sometime," she replied, her eyes sparkling with interest. "Definitely," I agreed, exchanging numbers with her before we said our goodbyes. Over the next few weeks, Lisa and I kept in touch, texting and calling each other regularly. We went on a few dates, each one more enjoyable than the last. I found myself looking forward to seeing her, feeling a sense of excitement I hadn't felt in a long time. One evening, as we sat in a cozy cafe, Lisa looked at me thoughtfully. "You know, Matt, I've really enjoyed getting to know you. But I have to be honest, I've been through some tough times recently, and I am still healing." I reached across the table, taking her hand in mine. "I understand, Lisa. I've been through a lot too, but I'm willing to take things slow and see where this goes." She smiled, squeezing my hand. "I do like that." As our relationship blossomed, I felt a renewed sense of hope. Lisa brought light and happiness into my life, and I found myself healing from the pain of the past. We spent more time together, exploring the city, trying new restaurants, and sharing our dreams for the future. One sunny afternoon, we took a walk in the park, enjoying the warmth of the sun and the beauty of the blooming flowers. As we strolled hand in hand, I realized how much my life had changed since that fateful night when I discovered Emily's betrayal. Lisa, I need to tell you something, I said, stopping to look into her eyes. What is it, Matt? She asked, concern flickering across her face. I've been through a lot, and it's taken me a long time to get here. But being with you has made me realize that I can move on, that I can be happy again. I just wanted you to know that. She smiled, her eyes filling with tears. I feel the same way, Matt. You've brought so much joy into my life, and I'm grateful for every moment we share. As we embraced, I knew that this was a new beginning, a chance to build something beautiful out of the ashes of my past. The road ahead might not be easy, but with Lisa by my side, I was ready to face whatever challenges came our way. Life with Lisa was a breath of fresh air, but as we grew closer, old wounds began to resurface. The memories of Emily's betrayal, the heartbreak, and the distrust occasionally crept into my thoughts, threatening to overshadow the happiness I had found. One evening, Lisa and I were cooking dinner together in her apartment. The smell of sautéed garlic filled the air, and we laughed as we tried not to burn the pasta sauce. It was one of those simple, perfect moments. But as I looked at her, a pang of doubt hit me out of nowhere. Matt, you okay? Lisa asked, noticing the sudden change in my demeanor. I forced a smile. Yeah, just a bit tired, I guess. She didn't buy it. Lisa always had a way of seeing right through me. Talk to me, Matt. What is going on? I sighed, setting the wooden spoon down. It's just, sometimes I worry. What if something like what happened with Emily happens again? What if I am not enough? Lisa's face softened and she took my hands in hers. Matt, you are more than enough. I understand why you feel this way, but I'm not Emily. I want to betray you. We just need to trust each other and be honest about our fears. Her words were comforting, but the insecurity lingered. I knew I needed to deal with these feelings, not just for myself, but for the sake of our relationship. A few days later, while scrolling through my emails, I saw one from Emily. My heart skipped a beat as I opened it. It was brief, just a few lines. Matt, I hope you're doing well. I've been thinking about everything that happened and would like to talk, if you are open to it. There are things I need to say. Emily. I stared at the screen, torn. Part of me wanted to delete the email and move on, but another part felt a need for closure. I decided to talk to Lisa about it first. Lisa, I got an email from Emily, I said, showing her the message. She wants to talk. Lisa read the email, her expression thoughtful. Do you want to talk to her? I don't know, I admitted. I feel like I need closure, but I also don't want to bring any more pain into our lives. Lisa nodded. I understand. Maybe talking to her will help you move on completely. I trust you, Matt, and I'll support whatever you decide. Her trust and understanding gave me the strength to respond to Emily's email. We arranged to meet at a coffee shop the next day. I spent the night restless, wondering what she could possibly say that would change anything. When I arrived at the coffee shop, Emily was already there, looking nervous. She stood up as I approached, offering a tentative smile. Hi, Matt. Hi, Emily, I replied, sitting down across from her. There was an awkward silence before she finally spoke. I am really sorry, Matt, for everything. I know I hurt you deeply, and I regret it every day. I looked at her, searching her eyes for sincerity. Why, Emily? Why did you do it? She sighed, tears welling up in her eyes. I was unhappy, and instead of talking to you about it, I looked for an escape. I was selfish and stupid. Greg manipulated me, but I let it happen. I've been seeing a therapist trying to understand why I made those choices. Her admission brought a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and a strange sense of relief. I'm glad you're getting help. But you need to understand, Emily, you broke something in me. Trust isn't something that can just be fixed overnight. I know, she whispered. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know that I'm truly sorry and that I'm working on becoming a better person. We talked for a while longer, and I could see she was sincere. It didn't erase the past, but it gave me a sense of closure. As we parted ways, I felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I returned home to Lisa, who greeted me with a hug. How did it go? It was good. Hard, but good, I said, holding her close. I think I finally have some closure. That's good, Matt. I am proud of you, she whispered, kissing me gently. With Emily as chapter finally closed, I felt a renewed sense of hope. Lisa and I continued to build our relationship on a foundation of trust and honesty, knowing that while the past couldn't be changed, the future was ours to shape. Life with Lisa felt like a fresh start. We had our routines, our little adventures, and our quiet moments together. But as time went on, new challenges began to test our relationship, reminding me that no love story is without its trials. One sunny afternoon, Lisa and I were enjoying a picnic in the park. She was lying on the blanket, her head resting on my lap as we chatted about everything and nothing. It was one of those perfect moments, and I felt content. Out of the blue, Lisa's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and frowned. "It says my ex, Jake," she said, her voice tinged with annoyance. "I haven't heard from him in ages. Wonder what he wants." A knot formed in my stomach. "What does he say?" "He wants to meet up and talk," she replied, sitting up. "He says it's important." The memory of Emily's betrayal resurfaced, and I struggled to keep my insecurities in check. "Do you think you will go?" "I don't know," Lisa said, looking at me intently. "I have no interest in rekindling anything with him, but maybe it is something serious. Do you want me to come with you?" I offered, trying to sound supportive despite my apprehension. Lisa shook her head. "No, I think it is something I need to handle on my own, but I promise I'll tell you everything." I nodded, trying to hide my unease. "Okay, just be careful." Later that evening, Lisa met up with Jake. I spent the evening pacing around my apartment, my mind racing with all sorts of scenarios. When Lisa finally returned, I could see she was troubled. "Hey," I said softly. "How did it go?" She sighed, sinking into the couch. "It was intense. Jake is going through a tough time. He's lost his job and he's in a bad place emotionally. He wanted to apologize for how things ended between us and ask for my help." I sat down beside her, feeling a mix of relief and concern. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, it just brought back a lot of old memories," she said, leaning into me. "He asked if we could be friends again, but I told him I am in a relationship now and that my priority is you." Her words eased my fears, but I couldn't shake the nagging doubt. "Did he take it well?" "He was disappointed, but he understood," she said, taking my hand. "Matt, I love you. You're the only one I want to be with." I smiled, squeezing her hand. "I love you too, Lisa. Thanks for being honest with me." As the days went by, Lisa and I continued to grow closer, but the shadow of our pasts lingered, occasionally causing tension. One evening, we had a particularly heated argument about trust. It started with a small misunderstanding but quickly escalated. "Why can't you just trust me, Matt?" Lisa exclaimed, frustration clear in her voice. "It's not that I don't trust you," I shot back. "It's just, after everything that happened with Emily, it's hard not to have doubts." "Well, I'm not Emily," she yelled, tears welling up in her eyes. "I've done nothing but be honest with you, and it hurts that you still have these doubts." I took a deep breath, realizing how much my insecurities were hurting her. "I am sorry, Lisa. You are right. You are not Emily, and I need to stop comparing the two of you. It's not fair to either of us." She wiped her tears, nodding. "I know you've been hurt, Matt, but if we're going to make this work, we need to trust each other completely." We sat in silence for a while, letting the weight of the conversation settle. Eventually, I reached out and took her hand. "I promise. I'll work on it. I want this to work more than anything." Lisa smiled through her tears. Me too. From that moment on, we made a conscious effort to communicate better and address our insecurities head-on. It wasn't easy, but we were committed to each other and to making our relationship work. A few weeks later, we decided to take a weekend trip to the mountains, hoping to reconnect and strengthen our bond. The crisp air, stunning views, and time away from everyday stresses worked wonders. We hiked, cooked together, and spent long evenings talking by the fire. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Lisa turned to me. "You know, Matt, this trip has made me realize how much I want a future with you." My heart swelled with emotion. "I feel the same way, Lisa. I know we have had our challenges, but I believe we can overcome anything together." She smiled, leaning in to kiss me. Then let us make a pact. No more letting the past dictate our future. We'll face everything together, as a team. Deal, I said, sealing our pact with a kiss. As we held each other, watching the sun dip below the horizon, I felt a renewed sense of hope. Our relationship had been tested, but we had emerged stronger, more united than ever. Returning from the mountains, Lisa and I felt more connected than ever. The time away had rejuvenated us, giving us a fresh perspective on our relationship. We were ready to face the world together no matter what challenges lay ahead. A few weeks later, life threw us another curveball. It started with a phone call from Lisa's mother. Lisa had always been close to her family, and I knew how much they meant to her. When she hung up, her face was pale and her eyes were filled with worry. "What's wrong?" I asked, instantly concerned. "It's my dad," she said, her voice trembling. "He had a heart attack. He's in the hospital." My heart sank. "Oh no, I am so sorry. Do you want to go see him?" "Yes, I need to be there," she said, already grabbing her bag. "Will you come with me?" "Of course," I said, not hesitating for a moment. "Let's go." We packed quickly and headed to the hospital. The drive was tense, filled with worry and silence. When we arrived, Lisa's mother was waiting for us, her face etched with concern. "He is stable now," she said, hugging Lisa tightly. But it was a close call. We spent the next few days at the hospital, supporting Lisa's family and spending as much time with her father as possible. It was a stressful time, but it also brought Lisa and me even closer. I saw a side of her that was strong and resilient, and I admired her even more for it. One evening, while Lisa was sitting with her dad, her mother and I went to the hospital cafeteria for a coffee. She looked at me with a mix of gratitude and curiosity. "You've been a rock for Lisa through all of this," she said. "I'm grateful she has you." "I care about her a lot," I replied, "and I'm happy to be here for her." Her mother smiled warmly. "I can see that. You know, Lisa has been through a lot. She has had her share of heartbreaks, and I worried about her finding someone who truly cares about her. But seeing you two together, I feel hopeful." "Thank you," I said, feeling a surge of pride and affection. "I love her, and I want to be there for her, no matter what." As we finished our coffee, I realized just how much Lisa meant to me. This wasn't just a relationship, it was a partnership, a commitment to stand by each other through thick and thin. After a week in the hospital, Lisa's father was finally discharged. He still had a long road to recovery, but things were looking up. Lisa decided to stay with her parents for a while to help out, and I offered to help in any way I could. "Thank you for being here," she said one evening as we sat on the porch of her parents' house. "I don't know what I would have done without you." "I'll always be here for you, Lisa," I said, wrapping my arm around her. "We are in this together, remember?" She smiled, leaning her head on my shoulder. "I remember," and I couldn't be more grateful. Life slowly returned to normal, but the experience had left a lasting impact on both of us. We had faced a major challenge together and come out stronger. I knew then that our bond was unbreakable. A few months later, as the holidays approached, I started thinking about our future. I realized I didn't want to spend another day without Lisa by my side. I wanted to make it official. I started planning the proposal, wanting it to be perfect. I remembered how much she loved the mountains and the peace they brought us. I decided to take her back there, to the place where we had made our pact to face everything together. On a crisp winter morning, we set out for the mountains. Lisa was excited, thinking it was just a romantic getaway. Little did she know I had something special planned. We reached the cabin and spent the day exploring, enjoying the beauty of the snowy landscape. As the sun began to set, I led her to a spot overlooking the valley, the sky painted with hues of pink and orange. "Do you remember this place?" I asked, taking her hands in mine. "How could I forget?" she replied, smiling. "This is where we promised to face everything together." "Exactly," I said, my heart pounding. "And I want to make another promise to you." I got down on one knee, pulling out the ring I had carefully chosen. "Lisa, you are my everything. You've shown me what true love and commitment mean. Will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes as she nodded, her smile radiant. "Yes, Matt, I will." I slipped the ring on her finger and we embraced. the world around us fading away. It was just us, standing together, ready to face whatever life had in store. Lisa and I returned from the mountains, newly engaged and filled with excitement about our future. The news of our engagement spread quickly among our friends and family, bringing joy and congratulations from all sides. It felt like everything was falling into place perfectly. Planning the wedding became our new adventure. We decided to have a small, intimate ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. Lisa's father had recovered well, and he was thrilled to walk his daughter down the aisle. We chose a beautiful vineyard as our venue, its scenic beauty reminiscent of our beloved mountains. One evening, as we were sitting on the couch with wedding magazines spread out before us, Lisa turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "You know, Matt, there's someone I'd like to invite." "Who?" I asked, curious. "Emily," she said, hesitating. "I know it sounds strange, but we've stayed in touch a bit since that talk you had with her. She's been working hard to turn her life around." I felt a mix of emotions. Emily had been a significant part of my past, and her betrayal had left deep scars. But seeing Lisa's compassionate eyes, I realized that part of moving forward was letting go of old grudges. "If you think it's the right thing to do, I'm okay with it," I said, squeezing her hand. "Thank you," Lisa replied, smiling. "I think it would mean a lot to her." As the wedding day approached, everything fell into place. The vineyard was beautiful, the weather was perfect, and our friends and family were full of love and support. On the morning of the wedding, I felt a rush of nerves and excitement. John was my best man, and he helped keep me calm. "You ready for this?" he asked, straightening my tie. "More than ever," I replied, grinning. The ceremony was magical. Lisa looked stunning in her dress, her eyes shining with happiness. As she walked down the aisle with her father, I felt a surge of love and gratitude. This was the woman I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and I couldn't have been happier. We exchanged vows under the setting sun, promising to love and support each other through all of life's ups and downs. When the officiant pronounced us husband and wife, I kissed Lisa with all the love I had in my heart. The reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and heartfelt speeches. John gave a touching toast, sharing memories of our friendship and expressing his happiness for us. Sarah and Lisa's mother also gave beautiful speeches, bringing tears to everyone's eyes. As the night went on, I noticed Emily standing at the edge of the crowd. She looked hesitant, as if unsure whether she was welcome. I excused myself and walked over to her. "Hey, Emily," I said, smiling. "Hi, Matt," she replied, her voice a bit shaky. "Congratulations. This is beautiful." "Thank you," I said. "I'm glad you came." "I wasn't sure if I should," she admitted, "but I wanted to be here to see you happy." "I appreciate that," I said, genuinely. "We have both come a long way, and I hope you find happiness too." Emily smiled, a hint of relief in her eyes. "I am working on it. Thanks, Matt." With the past finally behind us, I returned to the party, feeling a sense of closure. Lisa and I danced under the stars, surrounded by the people we loved. It was a perfect ending to a perfect day. The next morning, we set off for our honeymoon, a secluded cabin in the mountains. It felt fitting to start our married life in the place that had brought us so much peace and joy. Our honeymoon was a blissful escape from reality. We hiked, cooked together, and spent long evenings by the fire, talking about our dreams for the future. It was a time to reflect on how far we had come and to look forward to the life we were building together. One evening, as we sat on the porch wrapped in blankets, Lisa looked at me with a serious expression. "Matt, there's something I've been thinking about." "What is it?" I asked, curious. "I want us to start a family," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. "I know it is a big step, but I feel ready, and I think we'd make great parents." My heart swelled with love. "I've been thinking about that too. I want nothing more than to have a family with you." We spent the rest of the night talking about our future children, imagining the adventures we'd have as a family. It was a beautiful vision, and I knew we were ready for this next chapter. Returning from our honeymoon, we were greeted with warm congratulations and well wishes. Life settled into a comfortable rhythm, and we began planning for the future. We moved into a cozy house in a quiet neighborhood, perfect for raising a family. One day, a few months later, Lisa surprised me with the best news yet. "Matt, we're going to have a baby," she said, holding a positive pregnancy test. Tears of joy filled my eyes as I hugged her tightly. "This is incredible, Lisa. I can't wait to start this journey with you." Our lives were about to change in the most wonderful way. We spent the next months preparing for our baby, filled with excitement and anticipation. Our friends and family were overjoyed, and we felt surrounded by love and support. As Lisa's due date approached, I felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. The night our baby was born was the most magical experience of my life. Lisa was incredible, and when I held our newborn daughter in my arms, I felt a love so profound it took my breath away. We named her Grace, and she was perfect in every way. Watching Lisa with Grace, I knew I had found my true home. Our family was complete, and I couldn't wait to see what the future held for us. Life with Lisa and Grace was a beautiful adventure. We faced challenges and celebrated triumphs, always together, always as a team. Our love had been tested and had grown stronger, and I knew we could face anything as long as we had each other. Life with Grace was a whirlwind of joy and sleepless nights. From the moment we brought her home, everything changed. Lisa and I quickly learned that parenthood was both the most rewarding and challenging experience we'd ever faced. Despite the exhaustion and the occasional frustrations, every moment was filled with love. The first few months were a blur of diaper changes, late-night feedings, and tiny milestones that filled us with pride. Grace's first smile, her first giggle, and her first attempts at crawling were celebrated with enthusiasm. Lisa and I took turns staying up with her, each night strengthening our bond as a family. One evening, as we sat in the nursery watching Grace sleep, Lisa turned to me with a tired but contented smile. "Can you believe she is already 6 months old? It feels like just yesterday we brought her home." "I know," I said, wrapping my arm around her. "She's growing so fast. Sometimes I wish we could slow down time." Lisa rested her head on my shoulder. "Me too. But I am grateful for every moment we have with her." As the months passed, we settled into a comfortable routine. I balanced work and family life, always making sure to be present for the important moments. Lisa was an incredible mother, patient and loving, and I admired her more each day. One weekend, we decided to take Grace to the park for the first time. The weather was perfect, and we were excited to introduce her to the joys of being outdoors. As we strolled through the park, Grace's eyes widened with wonder at the new sights and sounds. We found a quiet spot under a tree and spread out a blanket. Grace giggled as we played with her, her tiny hands reaching out to touch the grass. It was one of those perfect moments that made all the sleepless nights worth it. As we watched Grace explore, Lisa looked at me with a thoughtful expression. "You know, Matt, I've been thinking about going back to work part-time. I miss my job and I think it would be good for me. But I'm worried about leaving Grace." I nodded, understanding her concerns. "I think that is a great idea, Lisa, and we can figure out a schedule that works for both of us. Maybe we can find a good daycare or a nanny to help out." She smiled, relieved. "Thank you for understanding. I just want to find a balance that works for our family." We spent the next few weeks researching daycare options and interviewing potential nannies. It was a daunting process, but we eventually found a wonderful nanny named Maria who had years of experience and came highly recommended. Grace took to her immediately, and we felt confident in our decision. With Maria's help, Lisa was able to return to work part-time. It was an adjustment for all of us, but it felt good to find a new rhythm that allowed Lisa to pursue her career while still being present for Grace. One evening, after a particularly busy day, Lisa and I sat down to dinner, grateful for a quiet moment together. "I'm so proud of us," she said, raising her glass. "We've managed to navigate all these changes and still keep our relationship strong." "I am proud of us too," I said, clinking my glass against hers. "We are a great team, and I know we can handle anything that comes our way." As Grace grew, so did our confidence as parents. We faced new challenges with each stage of her development, but we always approached them together, supporting each other and finding joy in the little moments. One evening, as we were putting Grace to bed, she looked up at us with sleepy eyes and mumbled her first word, "Mama." Lisa's eyes filled with tears, and I felt a surge of pride and love. "Did you hear that?" Lisa whispered, her voice choked with emotion. She said, Mama. I heard it, I said, grinning, and it is just the beginning. She's going to amaze us every day. Life continued to bring us new adventures and challenges, but with each one, we grew stronger as a family. Grace's laughter filled our home, and our love for each other deepened with every passing day. The years flew by, and Grace grew into a bright, joyful child. Lisa and I often found ourselves marveling at how quickly time had passed. We cherished every milestone, from her first steps to her first day of school. Each moment was a testament to the strength of our family and the love that bound us together. One warm summer evening, after Grace had gone to bed, Lisa and I sat on our porch, reflecting on our journey. The sky was a canvas of stars, and the air was filled with the sounds of crickets and the occasional distant laughter of neighbors. Can you believe how far we've come? Lisa said, leaning her head on my shoulder. It feels like just yesterday we were planning our wedding. I nodded, a smile playing on my lips. We've been through so much, but we've come out stronger because of it. I wouldn't trade any of it for the world. Lisa sighed contentedly. I'm so grateful for our life together. And for Grace. She's the best thing that ever happened to us. She really is, I agreed. She's brought so much joy into our lives, and she's growing up to be such an amazing person. As we sat there holding each other, I thought about all the twists and turns our journey had taken. From the pain of betrayal to the joy of new beginnings, every experience had shaped us into the people we were today. Do you ever think about the future? Lisa asked softly. About what's next for us? All the time, I replied. I think about the adventures we'll have, the memories we'll create. I think about watching Grace grow up and supporting her dreams. And I think about growing old with you, sharing every moment together. Lisa smiled, her eyes shimmering with love. I think about those things too. And I know that as long as we are together, we can face anything. We sat in comfortable silence for a while, lost in our thoughts. Eventually, Lisa turned to me with a mischievous grin. You know, there's something I have been wanting to tell you. Oh, what's that? I asked, curious. I am pregnant, she said, her smile widening. My heart skipped a beat and I felt a rush of overwhelming joy. Are you serious? That's amazing, Lisa. She nodded, tears of happiness in her eyes. I found out a few days ago. I wanted to wait for the right moment to tell you. I pulled her into a tight embrace, feeling a mix of excitement and gratitude. This is incredible news. Our family is growing, and I couldn't be happier. As we held each other, I thought about the new chapter that awaited us. The journey of parenthood was about to start all over again, and I felt ready for it. We had faced so many challenges and had come out stronger each time. I knew that with Lisa by my side, we could handle anything. Over the next few months, we prepared for the arrival of our new baby, involving Grace in every step. She was thrilled to become a big sister and helped us decorate the nursery and pick out baby clothes. On a beautiful spring morning, our second child, a son named Leo, was born. Holding him in my arms, I felt the same overwhelming love and awe that I had felt with Grace. Our family was complete, and I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Life with 2 children was hectic but filled with joy. Grace and Leo brought endless laughter and love into our home. Lisa and I navigated the ups and downs of parenthood, always supporting each other and finding strength in our partnership. As the years went by, we continued to build a life filled with love, adventure, and cherished memories. We watched Grace and Leo grow, guiding them and celebrating their achievements. Our bond grew stronger with each passing day, rooted in the love and commitment we had for each other. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, I took Lisa's hand in mine. I am so grateful for this life we've built together, I said, my voice filled with emotion. You and our children mean everything to me. Lisa squeezed my hand, her eyes filled with love. And you mean everything to me, Matt. I am so grateful for every moment we've shared, and I look forward to all the moments to come. As we sat there, surrounded by the beauty of our life and the love of our family, I knew that we had found something truly special. Our journey had been filled with twists and turns, but it had led us to a place of deep love and fulfillment. and I knew that as long as we were together, we could face anything the future held.